U.S. President Donald Trump has just declared that the Memorandum of Understanding with the Islamic Republic of Iran is over, and U.S. military forces at his command are currently bombing the country. This is Dimitri Lascaris coming to you from the city of Mashhad in the northeast of Iran. I'm going to talk to you today from this location, the Imam Reza Shrine, about the dramatic developments of the last 24 hours. But before we get into it, please remember, if you find this video to be informative, like and share it, please. And if you are not already a subscriber to Reason to Resist, we warmly encourage you to become one and help us to spread our unapologetic, on-the-ground resistance journalism to as broad an audience as possible. So with that, let's get into it. First of all, a few words about where I'm currently situated. The Imam Reza Shrine is not only enormous, it is an architectural marvel. This is the first time I've seen it with my own eyes in my lifetime, and it would take days to truly appreciate the wonder of this place. It is the mausoleum of the 8th Imam of Shia Islam, Ali al-Rida, and it is visited every year by approximately 30 million pilgrims. It is the most visited pilgrimage site in Islam. A historically important and holy site for this important branch of Islam. Now, we have come here today because this will be the site of the final burial of the martyred supreme leader of Iran, Ali Khamenei. The authorities have been conducting with impressive organizational skill a 7-day funeral program spanning numerous cities in Iran and Iraq, and tomorrow will be the 7th and final day of this funeral program, in which certainly well in excess of 10 million and possibly 20 million mourners will have participated by the time all is said and done. I understand the coffin of the martyred supreme leader and the coffins of his family members are in transit to Mashhad. They are coming here from Iraq, where they were yesterday, where they were received also by large crowds of mourners, overwhelmingly of the Shia Muslim faith. And we are expecting tomorrow that there are going to be millions of people here, and not simply from Mashhad, which is the second largest city in Iran, having a population of 3.4 million, and not simply from Iran, but from other countries around the world. Now, what has happened in the last 24 hours or so? Well, it began with yet another attempt by ships associated with vassals, the Arab autocratic vassals of Washington, to transit through the Strait of Hormuz without the permission of the Iranian military. Let me remind you that when the MOU was signed, the Iranian military was firmly in control of the Strait of Hormuz and had made it crystal clear that no vessel was permitted to pass through the strait without the consent of the Iranian military. That was the status quo, and the MOU explicitly requires that the parties to the MOU will maintain the status quo during the 60-day negotiation period, and I think we're about 2 or 3 weeks into that now, although precious little negotiation has actually transpired. So in violation of the agreement, and these are by no means the only violations of the agreement by Washington, and I'll get back to that in a few minutes, the U.S. military was trying to guide, not necessarily with a naval escort, but with satellite positioning or intelligence, guide vessels from vassal states through the Strait of Hormuz. And so the Iranians, I think, were making an effort not to respond to this situation during the funeral of Imam Khamenei, but apparently they had enough about 36 hours ago and attacked several vessels, commercial vessels that were attempting to pass through the Strait of Hormuz through what has become known as the Omani lane, a sea lane that hugs the coast of Oman. And we are pretty certain that at least 2 vessels were struck by an Iranian projectile, one from Qatar, possibly an LNG tanker, and that would be the first time that an LNG tanker from Qatar was struck by Iran since the criminal war of aggression began, and another super large tanker associated with Saudi Arabia. And it's possible that as many as 5 vessels were struck by Iran. Now, none of them suffered catastrophic damage. I have seen no reports of any casualties, any persons being wounded or killed on these vessels. But nonetheless, the United States decided to react with deadly force. It didn't simply attack Iranian ships, it attacked land-based targets, including the port of Bandar Abbas, where I was in March of this year during the hot phase of the war. And there are videos circulating of explosions at the port of Bandar Abbas, and although the U.S. will invariably claim that they were military targets, the Iranians say that they were attacking fishing boats and civilian facilities. And I can tell you from having been in Bushehr, which is also on the Persian Gulf during the, this is another Iranian port city on the Persian Gulf, during the hot phase of the war, that the U.S. and Israel do strike civilian facilities at Iranian ports. I saw this with my own eyes. There were ships, passenger ferries, commercial passenger ferries, 5 of them, if I recall correctly, at the maritime terminal in Bushehr that had been completely destroyed by attacks, making it impossible for the authorities there to transport tourists to and from that port. It is normally, as they explained to us, a very busy port facility for Iranian tourism, but it had been put completely out of action. So we don't know for sure what was struck at the port of Bandar Abbas. Also in Sidik, another city in southern Iran, there were strikes. We don't know exactly what was struck there. The Americans say these were military facilities. Over 80 targets, that's what CENTCOM has said, whereas the Iranians say that at least some of them were civilian. The Iranian military has stated, however, that one member of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC, was killed in these strikes, and numerous other Iranians have been wounded. So whereas the Iranian attacks on these vessels killed no one, wounded no one, and did no catastrophic damage, the U.S. has responded after it violated the undertaking not to change the status quo. It has responded with deadly force and by striking land-based targets, allegedly a number of them civilian in nature. So this is a major escalation. At the end of the day, this is going to precipitate a major retaliatory response by the Islamic Republic, and that is exactly what it has done. It has fired missiles and drones at the U.S. naval base in Bahrain and at the U.S. air base in Kuwait. They have not been kicked out of those countries, the Americans, and continue to pose a serious threat to the Islamic Republic and the Iranian people, and almost certainly participated in some way or another in the criminal war of aggression on Iran. So they are, as the Iranian government rightly contends, legitimate targets for this type of retaliatory response. And then Donald Trump, while he was
down with America, Trump. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Down with America, Trump. Down with Zionists. Thank you.
I thought I should allow that man to say his piece. In any case, so the United States is engaged in a major escalation. Now, to make matters even worse, Trump, after declaring, or around the time that he declared at the NATO summit, another gathering with his vassals, where they're plotting some insanely aggressive escalation in the war, the U.S.-Ukrainian proxy war on Russia, we learned that the United States has reimposed sanctions on Iranian oil. The sanctions had been temporarily lifted for only something like 6 or 7 days. So that was extremely short-lived. And I must say that this virtually guarantees, in my view, that the MOU is in fact over. And the reason that I say that is that the only benefit that Iran was getting out of this MOU was the ability to sell its oil, because the blockade had been lifted and because the sanctions had been suspended. Now, if Iran doesn't have the ability to sell its oil, either because the blockade has been reimposed, and so far as we know, the U.S. has not yet done that, although it may do so imminently. But even if it's just a matter of the sanctions being reimposed, that is going to impede its ability to sell its oil enormously. And so the one benefit it had under the agreement has been taken away. In the meantime, the U.S. is refusing to turn over any of Iran's frozen assets, or I should say stolen assets. The U.S. is doing nothing to force Israel to withdraw from Lebanon or from occupied Palestinian territory in Gaza. And in fact, Israel continues to kill civilians both in occupied territories in Palestine and in South Lebanon. The U.S. is continuously threatening Iran. Trump is using genocidal language, has done so on at least 2 occasions since the MOU was signed, and the MOU explicitly prohibits the threats of the use of force by either party to the Memorandum of Understanding. And so there is a whole litany of violations that have been committed by the Trump regime, and the one significant benefit that Iran had under this agreement was actually receiving under this agreement has now been taken away. So why would Iran at this stage continue to comply with its obligations under the MOU? And I can tell you from having interacted with countless ordinary Iranians, interviewed a number of them in these gigantic processions in honor of the martyred Supreme Leader, there is very little appetite already, even before the events of the past 24 hours. There was extremely little appetite amongst, as far as I can tell, most Iranians for any kind of discussion with the Trump regime. Over and over again, I heard Iranians complain of the U.S. government's arrogance, and they referred to Donald Trump as a big liar. So I am increasingly of the view that what we're about to see is another closure of the Strait of Hormuz. Even if the current levels of traffic persist for some weeks in the Strait of Hormuz, which is about, let's say, 30 vessels a day, that is still, less than 25% of the pre-war traffic at a time when oil inventories around the world are dangerously low. So this is again going to precipitate or exacerbate the looming global oil crisis. And then of course there are other key commodities that come out of the Strait of Hormuz, like sulfur and helium and fertilizer and sulfuric acid. So, quite apart from the situation with the oil and gas markets, this is just spells serious trouble for the global economy, a very fragile global economy, and one that is characterized, certainly in Western stock markets, by a massive bubble, primarily driven by fantasies around artificial intelligence. But that's a whole other story, my friends. In any case, I would imagine that we are about to see a rapid deterioration of the situation in the Strait of Hormuz. And I don't think that this round of bombing is going to end quickly. I hope I'm wrong about that. And it may well expand to the interior of Iran. So far as we can tell from CENTCOM's statements and from the press reports, the U.S. strikes on land-based targets are confined to the southern coast of Iran. Now, we are at the opposite end of Iran, whereas the violence perpetrated by the Trump regime and the U.S. military is happening in the southwestern part of Iran. We are in the northeastern part of Iran. We are approximate, I don't know the exact distance, but we're quite close to, relatively speaking, the border with Turkmenistan and with Afghanistan. This probably is a relatively difficult part of the country for the U.S. military to strike without taking serious risk of having its aircraft taken out by Iranian air defenses. And so I don't anticipate we're going to see any bombing in this particular area, although you never know. I wouldn't rule that out. And whatever may or may not happen in the days ahead in the area of Mashhad, I can tell you the mood here is not one of capitulation. In fact, as I was walking in, I saw people chanting, and I heard and recorded people chanting death to America and death to Israel. So I'm going to share with you the video of what I saw as I first entered. What you're seeing, what you're going to see in this video is what I saw for the very first time in my life. Thank you very much. You know, as I entered this marvelous shrine, it's truly something to behold. I'm now going to sign off again by sharing this video footage with you that I just took of this complex. I want to add that I've only seen a portion of it, a small portion of it. I've been inside for about 45 minutes, and I hope to be able to share with you more footage, particularly of the interior, which I can only imagine is extraordinarily beautiful. For now, this is Dimitri Lascaris signing off on July 8th, 2026. But don't click that button just yet if you want to see some more of this this wonderful shrine.
نه اونجا که داشت تو آب میدادش با کده برفتن
نهار میخورم دوباره بعد میام برو اینجا استاپ.